And welcome back to Book Nook. I'm Ron Kincher from Muddy River News. We have a couple of guests with us from the Quincy Public Library. Victoria Dement, always with us, the Public Relations Director. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
And Gina Miller. She is the School Outreach Specialist at the Quincy Public Library. Thanks for coming along.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so you have more information on the big read, from what I understand, Victoria.
I do. We do. So our official kickoff date is September 15th, which will involve a guest speaker of a local Quincy native, Megan Lovelace, who had an accident when she was younger and lives her life in a wheelchair, much like our Big Read book author, Rebecca Taussig, does. And so she's just going to share her experience on what being differently abled, specifically in Quincy, Illinois, has meant to her, and then how she has overcome and continued to live a very full and fulfilling life.
So to review a little bit, the National Endowment of Arts, you guys submitted for a grant, and you had to pick specific books from this grant, and they all had different topics, and you chose which book again?
We chose Sitting Pretty by Rebecca Taussig, which is a book about her life. She is a childhood cancer survivor, but which left her without the ability to walk for her whole life, because she was pretty young when she survived her cancer bout. And it's a book that questions our understanding and our community's understanding of what being differently abled is, and how we live ordinary lives with extraordinary things happening to us.
So you got the grant, and you're going to be giving some books away for free.
Yes, we'll be giving 1,000 books away for free.
And that's not the only event. As you mentioned, Miss Lovelace will be coming and talking to you, and then there's other events associated with about differently disabled folks, and that encompasses all sorts of different things.
So we're talking musculoskeletal, neurodivergent, all the different things that you can kind of put in those categories. Big thing is we'll have lots of various programs throughout the month from September 15th to October 12th. And most of our, if not all of our speaking engagements will be translated by an ASL interpreter, just to provide more access to those differently abled people, which are people who are deaf or hard of hearing.
Now, all that's on your website, I'm assuming?
Yes, all of it is on our website. Please check it out. We have some really fantastic speakers coming. Gary Wheeland, who is also a Quincy native, who is a amputee, but has not let that stop him. He is still a firefighter and was even on American Ninja Warrior, is going to come talk to us about how life is differently abled for him, but how he overcomes and succeeds. So lots of really good things happening there.
Since we all have our obstacles, it's just some are a little bit more noticeable. I shouldn't say noticeable, but a little harder to overcome.
Absolutely.
And to celebrate some of those people.
Absolutely. And I think, too, one thing that I really like about the book is Rebecca talks about how, being differently abled doesn't have to be something drastic. It can be the fact that you and I are on anxiety medication, or we wear glasses, or the fact that, some people still as adults can't tell their right from their left, because that's a neuro issue. So, there's lots of different ways where we can still overcome, we can still create a community that is bringing awareness and conversation to what this is like.
Well, we're not going to let Gina get off the hook.
We aren't.
So Gina Miller, again, is a school outreach specialist at the Quincy Public Library. I was talking to Victoria the last time she was here, and I was curious as to what your role is. I didn't realize they had this position at the library. So you work basically as a liaison between the schools in the area and the library, right?
Yeah, so my job is basically to provide support and resources for teachers to help make their jobs easier and help get them resources from the library that could support their work in education. Whether that's books or being delivered to their classrooms, I can do that, or connecting them with programs that are offered at the library, or maybe programs that we could bring to the schools, and also to connect them with online resources that they could use in the classroom.
So just give me some examples of that. Like, what a teacher would call you, and do they say, help? Or do they say, what do you offer? Or could it be
so it could be any of those. I mean, some teachers will contact me and they'll say, hey, these are our themes for the month. Like, I was working with a daycare that does a preschool program, and they sent me a request in July, and they just let me know what their themes were going to be for the next month, and they said they wanted 20 to 30 books. So then I search our catalog and gather them resources that would work for those themes in their preschool classroom. And then I check them out and deliver them to them, and then pick them back up the next month and bring them new books for whatever themes they have coming up next.
Oh, that's cool. So do you actually order books in, or are these already from your
So
library at the library?
So I'm working within the library's collection, the children's department, and then we have an additional collection for specifically to meet the needs of school delivery. And then if a patron wants a book that is not available at Quincy, I can get that from other libraries for them too.
Well, that's cool. So if a teacher, I'm going to use my grandson, of course, as an
Absolutely.
example. They have a train-themed room.
Yeah.
So they could just literally call and say, Gina, I got a train-themed room. What you got?
Yeah, you can email me and say, hey, I'm teaching on Veterans Day, and I need Thanksgiving books, and we are studying leaves and trees. Like, that's all I need.
Oh, that's simple.
I can work with that. Or I have teachers who say, I use these 5 books every year, and they give me a title and an author, and they know exactly what they need, so I can get them that.
So with that example, so you're not limiting yourself just to the young kiddos. You could help all the way through the high school level then.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just so much variation from one teaching context to the other. Like your kindergarten and preschool teachers are going to need significantly different resources than high school. So just being able to meet teachers' needs, whatever those are, with their particular teaching context.
Is it just books, or do you provide other type of content for them?
So any resources that the library offers, I can offer teachers and connect them with. So for example, if they need DVDs, or if they need books on tape, so audiobooks, or books with CDs, or we also have our library of things that is like manipulatives and like science kits and history kits that patrons can check out. So I can connect teachers with those and deliver those to schools too, to work with whatever units of study they have going on in their classrooms.
Do you ever get a phone call from a teacher's like, I just don't know what to do this week? Help.
I haven't yet.
That would be me.
That would be me as well.
I have totally been in that position as an educator that, it's Monday morning. This plan is not going to work. What am I going to do? I haven't, but I hope that happens someday so that I can come in and provide those last minute resources for those teachers.
And your background is in teaching.
Yes. Yeah, so I taught 6th grade at Payson for 11 years, and I taught 5th grade in Missouri for 3 years before that. So middle school has been where I've pretty much lived for my teaching career, and then I just wanted to make a change, and I have always wanted to work at the library. And now I get to work at the library and support teachers all day.
Now, do you send people resources? I know that sounds kind of weird, but like, let's say, use the train example again. I would love to find somebody that knows a lot about trains. Is that something you guys could provide?
That would be really fun to be able to connect
so
teachers.
You would accept that type of request?
I don't know that would fall within my wheelhouse, but if I knew of like a community resource that I could recommend to that teacher, I would absolutely do that. What I could do is connect them with people within the library who could offer services. For example, I've had several teachers who were interested in wanting to bring their class to the library for a field trip, or their kids are too young for a field trip, so they would really love for someone in the children's department to go to them to do like a story time or other activities like that. So I can connect them with the people in the library who can make that happen.
Okay, so we've talked about a variety of services that you provide. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that I may not know about that is something else that you could provide? I don't know what it would be. That's the thing.
Yeah, so one thing we haven't talked about is online resources.
Okay.
There are a couple of online resources. I mean, the library offers dozens of databases and other materials that teachers can access that would help them in the classroom. A couple that I've really been recommending to teachers are World Book Online, which is like our online encyclopedia. Anyone with a library card can access that. So I can help teachers get their students connected with library cards so that they can use that in the classroom. And then that's a free resource that they can access.
So it's not necessarily our library's resource. It's
Right.
Well,
So
the
accessible
library,
to anybody.
Yeah,
Did you
so
let her talk?
So anyone with a library card can access it because
Right.
the library purchases a subscription to it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So then anyone with a library card can use that resource.
And there's items you can print out, I guess, and give to the
Yeah.
kids, or do they have like lessons and stuff like
They
that
have
as a part of it?
all of those things, and they have nonfiction ebooks, and they have
Oh, wow.
games and interactive activities. Yeah, and it's like if I didn't know that was a thing when I was teaching in the classroom, or I would have used it all the time.
That was my question:
Yeah.
is how many teachers don't know what's available to them, and do you go out to schools on a regular basis and tell them what is available to them?
Yeah, so that's been a focus of mine here at the beginning of the year with teachers coming back and having in-services. And I am always available to go to staff meetings and help provide trainings. I can put together a training video for teachers to let them know what resources they could use in their classroom. Yeah, so kind of think of me like customer support for teachers for the library.
Oh, that's cool.
Like anything they're wanting to do or know, or hey, does the library have this? I want to be able to connect them with that information.
Okay. Have you noticed an uptick in requests after COVID? Now the kids are back in the classroom?
Yeah, so since I've only been in the position since June,
Okay.
I really can't speak to that, but I can say that we are super excited to be able to go in person to
Yep.
classrooms and to schools again. Like the last week or so, we've been at a couple of back to school nights, and just being able to be a part of those community events where people are able to gather in person and just show the community what resources we have. It's
Are
really
you
exciting.
restricted to a specific geography since it is the Quincy Public Library?
So any educator that works at a school in Quincy can get a Quincy Public Library card. So that includes non-residents who work at a Quincy school. But we do focus our services on Quincy schools.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming along.
Thank you for having
Thank you for
us.
bringing
Thank
it.
you. Yeah.
All right, that's Gina Miller, again, the school outreach specialist at the Quincy Public Library. How do they get a hold of you? Obviously, they
just-
could call the library, but
Yeah, easiest way is just to email me,
At?
gmiller@quincylibrary.org.
gmiller@quincylibrary.org.
Yep.
Are you on the website if they wanted to find you?
Yep, they can find me on the website. If they click on services and then
Okay.
educators.
But obviously, they could call if they
Yep,
didn't
just
have time
call
to
or
write that
email.
down.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in, Gina. It was great to meet you. Victoria, always a pleasure.
Thanks for having
And
us.
this has been the Book Nook. And I'm Ryan Kincher with Muddy River News.